From our studios at historic Arnold's Park Amusement Park, it's Okoboji Broadcast with Jeff Thee. Welcome to Okoboji Broadcast, everybody. Getting ready for the holidays. Our guest here today, Amanda Olson, who's a CEO and mental health therapist at Champion State of Mind. Also with us is Amy Nissen. She's a new substance abuse provider there at Champion State of Mind. And welcome, you guys. Thank you for for taking some time with me.
Thank you, Jeff. We wanted to make sure that we were festive in our attire today, so happy holidays to you.
I got a little green on, and I guess that's as festive as I'm going to get here today. But you've beaten me hands down.
That's great. That's great.
Amanda, let's start off talking about, and it's a serious thing. We've been a little jovial, but mental health. And, you know, the last time we talked, I want to say it was back in July or August. And we were in the very midst of COVID and so forth. And now as we get here towards the end of 2020 and moving into 21, we do have vaccines coming. So on the horizon, physically, we can see relief from COVID-19. But the damage has been done mentally, and recovery from that status is going to take a lot longer than getting 2 inoculations and being COVID-free.
Absolutely. You know, last time we spoke, like you just mentioned, we were in COVID. Things weren't relieving themselves as fast as I think our society was hoping to do, you know, a couple months, and then it would have gone away, and it didn't. And so as time has gone on, people maybe saw hope that a solution was on the horizon sooner than we expected. And when it didn't come, we saw kind of like a second wave, really, of anxiety and depression and grief and substance use kind of come back in full force. And again, you know, we at Champion State of Mind, we do mental health and substance use services, individual, group, family, couples. So honestly, since we spoke last, our referrals, we've had a very difficult time keeping up. They continue to come in for a variety of reasons, but it's been astounding to see the referral numbers, how much they have increased, and the variety of people that are asking for help, and that's fantastic. I mean, that's why we're here.
Right.
But it's been very interesting from a business standpoint to see these numbers increase so much.
Yeah, and you know, Amanda, you kind of blew me off the wall here when you said that. I hadn't even considered, you know, when we were getting into springtime last year, I think a lot of people thought, oh, by summertime we can be outdoors, maybe this thing will go away. Well, then summer, and we had a nice summer, we even had a nice fall, then we started retreating indoors again, and you're right, the second wave, and for people who are already trying to just stay above water, that had to have been very hard.
Absolutely, and you know, one area that we do see around here too is financially. You know, some people might have been out of work for quite some time. They thought they could go back to work, ended up not. You know, we even had even in our own families, either immediate or extended. You know, if somebody came in contact with COVID or got COVID themselves, they couldn't work for how many weeks unless they could work from home. You know, and then changes within the government systems. You know, there were subsidies available, and then there weren't, and then, you know, everyone was flooding food banks, and they're still trying to, which is fantastic. But again, that we had this concept that it was only going to be so many months as a society, and it went longer than that. So there's this huge wave that kind of came around with it too, and we as providers just keep trying to stay afloat with it. Yeah,
and you know, all that stress, and sometimes with the stress comes shame that I should be stronger than this, and you know, it just feeds upon each other, and it becomes a vicious circle. And let's talk about, you've got some new things going on there at Champion and the Emmett County Behavioral Health Network. Tell me about that, Amanda.
Yeah, the Emmett County Behavioral Health Network is a group of 3 primary businesses. So Avera Holy Family Hospital, the Esther Lincoln Central School District, and the Emmett County Public Health. And this stemmed from a grant that was geared towards suicide prevention within Emmett County, specifically teens is kind of what they were focusing on, children and teens, suicide prevention. So the Behavioral Network has been actually doing a ton of work for the last, year and a half, Amy. I mean, they've been doing a lot of data collecting, and then the second phase of the grant is what you're actually seeing come out into the communities. And part of that is they wanted to work with Champion State of Mind and encourage education about mental health. What is mental health? How does it affect us? What are signs to look for? What are some tips, tools that we could use for ourselves? And then also these presentations were geared specifically for different groups. So there's actually 3 presentations that have been released. One of them is geared towards children, students, teens, that area. The next one is parents and guardians and adults. Sorry, I don't know why my brain just went there. I'm looking at Amy like she's going to answer the question for me. Parents, adults, and then the third one is for community members.
Right.
So again, we have our communities are so amazing around here. We're so hands-on. We love to work with people. And so the third one is geared towards community members. But if you see somebody that you think might need some mental health assistance, what do you watch out for? What can you do to help? The first 2 have already been released online. You can actually access that through YouTube links. So it's available to anybody who wants to watch it. And then the third one for community members will be released this week. Okay.
And, being able to look for those signs, because, like I said before with the pride, we can hide stuff pretty good. We don't let what's going on inside here be visible to others, and being able to see those signs, very important.
Yeah, absolutely. Amy, you've been working with Champion for quite a bit now, and a lot of it was during COVID.
Yeah.
What have you seen really change since you've been here, or signs, or the people that are coming in for assistance? Have you noticed any changes?
So much anxiety.
Yeah.
Anxiety.
Yep.
There's just so much anxiety out there, and depression.
Yep. Yeah, we've been seeing that a lot, and that it's definitely coinciding with substance use.
Yep.
People might be looking to self-medicate or self-regulate themselves. Substance use is definitely one of those avenues that people might turn to.
Yeah.
And, Jeff, like you already said, there's a lot of isolation going on, not necessarily by choice in this case because of COVID,
right.
But when you increase that level of isolation, let's be honest, our brain stews. It thinks. We all do that. We're humans. Our brains do that.
Right.
Sometimes it's not a good way, and we look for relief, rightfully so. There's lots of different ways to do that. There's healthy, but there's also unhealthy ways to do that too.
Absolutely. And you've also got a Champion Direct new therapy texting service. What's that about?
Yeah, this is really exciting. So Champion Direct is a new end-to-end encryption text-based service. Okay. Right, that's a lot of words, right? So basically what it means is it is a service that we're offering to anyone, any person who, current client or non-current client, if they would like to text a mental health therapist, they can sign up for Champion Direct and do that. So we have 3 different levels or packages that an individual can purchase, which ranges how often the therapist will communicate with you during a business week. And it can range from, I think it's like 4 times to up to 10 times a week.
Wow.
What's really amazing about technology, unfortunately we've had to face COVID, but if we're going to look for the silver lining of all this, technology has just jumped so high in our ability to use it to our advantage, to connect with more people, especially through mental health.
Yes.
And so this is another avenue that we're pursuing here at Champion is how can we still help and support people outside of their standard session.
Yeah.
So if somebody is coming to Champion already for services, they can add this as a program, or they can just do this program on their own. And what's so nice, though, is for some people, time is really difficult. It's hard to, set an appointment, come here, sit here, and talk with us in person, or, find time in their own home, even privacy. We've had that too, where maybe they do telehealth, but they're in their home with their family. They want privacy. This is a much more private way to still access those services, and really on your own time.
Yes, and and it's sometimes people have a lot easier. It's better for them to write down what's in their heart and in their mind as opposed to expressing it verbally, and it also counters anonymity. If they're concerned about that. So this new technology that we're learning and bringing into our lives serves a fashion in ways that we wouldn't have perceived before.
Absolutely. And again, the encryption part, end-to-end encryption, means that the application that we use, it only goes from that person's tech device straight to the therapist tech device. There's not a middle person. It's really together, and those messages are not saved either. So we are focusing on confidentiality as much as possible, but also utilizing technology to the best of our ability to help people right now.
All right. Well, Amy, I haven't forgotten about you. Just so I can only talk to one Santa at a time. That's just the way I'm used to doing it. And now you'll get my wish list. So. Amy Nissen, why don't you, first of all, just tell me a little bit about yourself, since you're fairly new there at Champion.
Oh, I'm not fairly new here. I've worked with Amanda for a very long time.
Oh, okay.
When she first started out here, my background, I guess, would be that I'm originally from Esterville, and now I've lived here for the last 15 years. I've been working with children and families for 20 years, a good 20 years.
Okay.
And when this opportunity came up, I just kind of jumped at it.
Okay, well, I'm going to toot Amy's horn here. She's being modest. So Amy has been phenomenal within the mental health field ever since I've known her. And since I've started working, you have been, just there and doing fantastic work through behavioral health intervention services, or BHIS services is when I met Amy. And through the course of time, Champion showed up and Amy, it just merged. And so where Amy thrives is absolutely working with families and kids. Yeah. And one day Amy and I were chatting, and I'm like, hey, I think I have an idea. Let me throw it by you. And one of them was having Amy look into becoming a substance use counselor. And at first, Amy was kind of like, what? I don't understand. I said, wait. Let's bear with me. There's an idea, I promise. Okay. But through our work, there was a missing link within substance use services in our communities. Right. And one of them was an individual who is a substance use counselor who worked primarily with families or kids.
Right.
They can, but a lot of times when we hear about substance use services, we hear about adults. And that makes perfect sense. Right. But what about the families? What about these kids? What if unfortunately there's a caregiver in the home that is working through substance use issues? Okay. Yep. That's a journey that there's ups and downs that come with that, and anybody who's a part of that person's life is affected by it. Right. The kids. Yep. Guys, what about the kids? Yep. Now, we as therapists might see them in our office too, but the nice part about having a substance use counselor, which is Amy, right, she has the knowledge and the skills how to work with families and kids, and on top of it, she understands the psychological aspect of substance use. And how does that change people? How does that affect their recovery process? And she can able to convey that to families. So I am super excited. I'm pumping Amy up. She's accepting clients. I'm really excited to see her get started. So
all right.
Thank you, Amanda.
You're welcome.
She said a lot more than I would.
That's odd.
Amy, and what are we seeing with the whole, people, seclusion, depression? What are we seeing on the substance abuse side? Things have been pretty severe, haven't they?
Oh, Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And you're seeing the same thing. You're seeing anxiety, you're seeing depression, and they're looking for something else to do. And there's no other outlet, that, sex, rock, and roll.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right. I mean, we're getting bored, so,
Yep.
and they're looking for relief, emotional relief, or, when it comes to substance use, their physical relief too.
Right. Yeah.
It's all combined. And so, thank goodness Amy has been working within Champion and now as a substance abuse counselor, because now we can really hone in on the cycle that we see a lot of our clients going through. But, one aspect that's very interesting too, and Amy, you can attest to this more, is the families that when we start really interviewing people, how much COVID and substance and mental health, it doesn't affect just the one person we talk to.
Right.
No.
But how many people it affects, the ripple effect that comes from it.
Yeah.
So, especially in Emmett County. I mean, you've worked in Emmett County for
20 years.
20 years. There
okay.
we go. So, but it's been great. It's been great to have Amy and really all the Champion providers and staff too. I mean, I can't rave about them enough. I mean, when push came to shove, every single one of them was right there saying, all right, let's go. Let's figure out how to do this.
Yep.
And absolutely Amy's included in that. So I'm so glad to see that us as a company is there for communities in support of that. But we continue to step up and are here to help. Yeah.
Well, and
it's a great bunch of girls here.
Yeah.
Ladies. Yeah.
We have fun. Clearly, we try.
I couldn't tell, but yeah. Hey, it is a relief to know that you're bringing these services. They're available to people. They're available to children and families. And thank you so much for all you do. And as you continue to change things to meet the needs. So if people have questions, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
There's multiple ways to do it. You can call our phone number. We have an 800 number, so that's 1-800-592-0180.
Okay.
And there's various extensions that you can choose. One is Esterville, 2 is our Spirit Lake office, and there's other choices within that depending on what department you're looking for.
Okay.
And then after that, you can go to our website as well. There's tons of information at our website, which is championmind.org.
Yeah.
Lots of links. To be honest, there's a links page, which if you're looking for information related to different mental health or substance use topics, we've been working on that for a couple of years now, just gathering links to help encourage people to find information to support them. And of course, we've got information on our providers and then all of our programs that we currently offer here through Champion. The last thing you can do too is you can always email us at info@championmind.org. You can contact us that way directly. We will get back to you as soon as we possibly can through that email. That's for any general questions that you might have. And then through our website, you can also request an appointment through the request appointment link. I can't talk today, right? Therapist who can't talk. That's funny. There's a link on the website that allows you to send a request for an appointment, and one of our support staff will get a hold of you.
All right, very good. Well, Amy and Amanda, thank you so much for taking time with me, and keep that Christmas spirit going. You got it going well there, and
absolutely. Thank you. Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, and thank you for all the services you provide as well.
Yes, you too. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our guests today have been Amanda Olson and Amy Nissen, their Champion State of Mind. We thank them for taking time with us. We thank you for watching us right here on Okoboji Broadcast. Okoboji Broadcast from the studios at historic Arnold's Park Amusement Park is brought to you by the Scott Troutman State Farm Agency in Spirit Lake, Pure Fishing in Spirit Lake, Last Touch Painting and Cleaning, providing interior, exterior, house painting, and professional cleaning services in Spirit Lake. Quest Wealth Management, a financial advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial Services, advisor Jan Spielman, AJ Spielman, and Erica Wachholz. Ducky's Marine and Motorsports Repair in Spirit Lake. Bank Midwest, dream big, plan wisely, live well. Lakes Regional Healthcare and Avera Partner. Attorney Bethany Brands at Brands Law Office in Spirit Lake. Ruth Van Locker at the lake, where carnivores are welcome on Hill Avenue in Spirit Lake. Beck Engineering in Spirit Lake. Be Radiant Laser Skin Studio in the Okoboji Plaza in Okoboji. By Michael Thorson with Farm Bureau Insurance in Spirit Lake.